Hello and welcome to the Cinnamon Bun Bagged Mix Baking Instructions. I'm Nat Lockhart and I am the co-owner along with my husband Marks of the Cinnamon Soul Café. And we have these incredibly world famous cinnamon buns that we make and that we sell at our cafe. And so we thought a number of months ago, how is it that we can get more of our cinnamon buns into our customers' hands that can't necessarily get to our cafe as often as they would like? Enter the Cinnamon Bun Bagged Mix. So now you can bake these buns at home. If you are watching this video, you probably already have bought a bag of our mix. And there's a QR code on the back on the label that you scanned and you have landed here. So this is the step-by-step tutorial on how I make our cinnamon buns at the cafe. We're obviously at home because it is an at-home mix. So I'm gonna walk you through step by step. These are all the ingredients that you need. We have the cinnamon bun bag mix, of course, the sticky cinnamon sugar and the cinnamon spread. It comes with the bagged mix. What you will need at home, you'll need 2 eggs, you'll need a tablespoon and a half of sugar, you will need 2 tablespoons of yeast, a 1/4 cup of butter that's softened, and then I have just a little bit of flour for when we're done, when we need to roll out the dough, just to prevent it from sticking to the counter. We've got a cup and a 1/3 of warm water, your rolling pin, your mixer, your tablespoon, your little deli knife, and I think you're set. That's what we need. So first step, I've already put a little bit of sugar in here as well, but we need 1 1/3 cup of warm water. And when I mean warm water, it's just warm. If you put the water too hot, it will actually kill your yeast. So I'm talking just warm. So 1 1/3 of a cup of warm water, you are going to put your sugar in there, and you're also going to put your yeast in there, and you're going to stir it all up, and you're going to wait until it gets foamy before we can start putting before we can dump it into our mixer and get going. So I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna finish putting the rest of my sugar and I'm gonna put the yeast, and it needs to get activated in the warm water. So it takes about 5 minutes, but it really is gonna depend on the temperature of your water. It's also gonna depend on the temperature of your surroundings in your house. So it's typically around 5 minutes. So I'm gonna go do that. And then I'm going to show you how foamy it gets and what it should look like before you dump it into the mixer. Now we're back with the yeast. So I just want you to see how lovely and foamy that yeast is. That is what you're going for. It has been sitting here for about 5 minutes, but that's the consistency and just what that yeast should look like. All right, now we're gonna start putting the ingredients in the mixer. So I would like to tell you that the order of the ingredients doesn't matter, but because I have made almost 25,000 cinnamon buns in the last 2 years, the order matters. Whenever I've done a different order, it has always had like dry clumps and different things in it. The order matters. It's up to you. Okay, here's my order. I always do my eggs first. So it's eggs, and then it's the butter, and then, drop my butter in there. And then on top of that, this is when it goes the bag mix. Now these little guys, the cinnamon sugar and the sticky cinnamon spread, are going to be in here, but I took it out just so we could show it. So this is dumped in, and remember that butter that I just added in, that's softened. And I put it in it's a 1/4 cup, and I put it in the microwave for, I think I put it in for 10 seconds. All right, that, and then this. And that, my friends, is everything that you need to make our world famous cinnamon buns. These are gonna knock your socks off. Now, all right, I just wanna make sure, oh shoot. I just wanna make sure you get all the goodness in here because like that's the goodness right there. All right, dough hook. When we were testing all of these buns and giving them to our friends and family and customers of ours to try this out, one of the customers she didn't have a mixer, so she ended up doing hers by hand, and honestly they worked out really well. So if you don't have a mixer, it's not the end of the world. You can do it by hand. It's just going to be so much easier with a mixer. All right, now we're locked and loaded here. I'm gonna put this on the lowest speed, only until everything gets mixed, and then I'm gonna bump it up to the medium speed, and probably like 2 or 3 minutes is all that it's gonna need to form this really great ball of dough. Now this dough is on the medium speed, and it's been on the medium speed for about a minute. A minute or two, and I think it's just about done. And it's totally fine if it starts to come out like this. It's going to, but it'll all mix up. And so I'm gonna stop. And also, when this is mixing, that would be the perfect time to get your pan and to also grease it. Like, so while that's taking a couple minutes to do its thing, that's a perfect time to do that. Okay, here's my dough. Now, the consistency that you want, you don't want it to be too dry, but honestly, if you follow the recipe and you use that much with a cup and a third of water, it should be, like, it shouldn't be super dry, but it also shouldn't be sticking to your hands. I don't have any flour on my hands, there's no flour. But you just don't want it too dry, and you don't want it sticking to your hands. So just that somewhere in between. All right, now that you have your beautiful cinnamon bun, your log, as we call it, our log of dough, we are ready to roll. Now here's a tip. When you have this dough, rather than just throw it on the counter like that and start rolling it from that, do it in your hands before you put it down, because it just saves you so much time and energy. If you do that, the rolling just becomes so much easier if you already just kind of manipulate it with your hands. Now, I do have some flour here. I'll put it down, but typically, just because the consistency of the dough, I honestly don't think you would need it. I think you would need flour on the counter if you were making it by hand, because I bet you it would be stickier. So, all right, there we have it. The bag mix, we're gonna make 12 cinnamon buns out of this. So we don't want it really long, but I am going to just show you about 12 buns. You want it in a bit of a rectangle. So on the edges, or I'll move that. On the edges, when you get to the ends, you just want to like make it into this beautiful rectangle. You don't want it too long because you don't want it too thin, and you don't want it too wide. So I think that is just about perfect. And I think that is going to make 12 buns so easily. Your oven also should be preheated to 225, because once we smear the sticky cinnamon spread and the cinnamon sugar on there, once we cut it, we're going to put them in the oven to rise. So this would be the perfect time now to go and to put your oven to 225 to preheat. Okay, I think this is great. This little guy is a total lifesaver when you are making these cinnamon buns. So I hope that when you bought this bag mix that you also purchased one of these. This is how many. This is kind of how we do it. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I almost have 7. So it's almost 7 lengths of this dough scraper that you're going to roll your dough out to. Now, sticky cinnamon spread. Sticky cinnamon spread goes first. It is very obvious which one is sticky cinnamon spread and which one is sugar, because this is sticky and this isn't. So this one is the one that goes first. If you have a deli knife, it's gonna be great, but also a butter knife is gonna work just fine as well. You're gonna smear it on there. Oh, it's gorgeous. Look at that. Totally up to you how much you're gonna put on. We give you lots so that you can have lots of flavor. It is totally up to you, however much you want. You want all of it, you want less. Your personal choice. All right. I think we're good here. I'm gonna use a little more. And what we find as well, if we make this, when we make our buns at the cafe, if we put too much sticky cinnamon spread on, when they're in the oven, we do find that that they get almost soupy, because all of the sticky cinnamon spread will melt in the oven. So just, use your judgment of how much that you would put on. I think we're good here. All right, next is the cinnamon sugar. I'll put that there. Oh, look at that. Yes. Yes. So good. I'm not going to take all of it out because I'm not sure. I don't think we're going to need all of it on this. If you did have any left over after you were done spreading it on there, you could save some, because it would be so good after they came out of the oven if you just sprinkled it on top. Now, you just want to make sure you have all of the edges and stuff covered, and you just lightly brush your hand to get all of the sugar. And there you have it. That is cinnamon buns, just like that. Oh, and it takes no time. Okay, we're gonna put that aside because you might want that for later. Now we're gonna roll it up. We're gonna roll this log onto itself. We're gonna roll it in. Up to you, again, how many rolls that you do, but you should just make it pretty tight so that you have this glorious cinnamon roll. See that? And as you are rolling, see the ends here? Can you get in there? See where the ends meet the dough? You're just gonna pinch it together so that when you're cutting it and when they're baking, that it doesn't come apart. Especially when they're rising, because sometimes if you don't do it, then when they're rising, they do come apart. All right, now, this is another thing that I really want to show you. So it's not this, the cinnamon roll is pretty evenly distributed. The log is the same size, but if you had a spot, and I'm gonna do this just for demonstration. If you had a spot, and it is typically the ends, that is like, let's say that this was all one size, but then this was really thin. Just manipulate the cinnamon roll and make it so that it is evenly distributed, so it's all the same size. Just bring it in together or spread it out, whatever you have to do. Okay, there's your cinnamon roll. Now we're going to cut it. We're going to cut it into 12 pieces, because that's a good size cinnamon bun. Again, dough scraper, it is a lifesaver while you're doing this. A trick that you can do, because I know what is frustrating because when we're making cinnamon buns at the cafe, every one of our cinnamon buns weighs exactly the same size, or it weighs the same. And because I have made so many cinnamon buns, I can easily just go da 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 da, and they're all going to be pretty much the same weight. But when you have it, it's a little hard to figure, like, okay, I'm making 12 of these, like what's half of it? So I would go and I would literally find half of the roll, just eyeball it and cut it. Now you know that you are going to make X number of cinnamon, like you're gonna cut 6 cinnamon buns with each one. It's a little life hack. All right, so even if I wanted to do like cut it again, and then I know I have to do 3. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is also 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There you go. You have 12 cinnamon buns. Now you're going to put them in the pan, and your pan needs to be greased. Oh my goodness, please grease your pan. You can use butter, you can use cooking spray. I know when I've made them before only at home, but I have used coconut oil as well. Whatever you have, do that, because if you don't, you are going to curse me until the end, because it is no fun for cleanup. The dishwashing is no fun. All right, let me just grab my pan. And also, I did not butter it. So, let me grab some butter. 1 second. Because I would prefer to do it with butter. At this point as well, your cinnamon buns are made. What about the times when you only want, maybe you only want to make 3 or 6 or 4. These freeze really well. And this would be the time right now, before you do anything else, just freeze them. Put them on a little tray, like stand them up and put them on a little tray like this. Squeeze them down just a bit, but put them on a tray in your freezer, let them freeze, and then just put them in a bag when they're done. It's gonna be just glorious. Whenever you want to have cinnamon buns, you can just pull them out of the freezer and rise them the exact same way that we're rising them right now. Okay, we are done here, I think. And you are going to put them in the pan. Now, you want them to be a little bit closer together, because when they are closer together, they don't have anywhere to go but up, which makes them really puffy and just that pillowy kind of cinnamon bun texture that you're going for. This is a 9x13 pan, and I would do it 3x4, so you get all 12 in there. If you are only cooking 3, for example, at a time, you would just do this. You wouldn't put like 1, 2, 3 so they're further apart. You always want them to be closer together so that they will rise up. And I was going to mention something. It was just in my brain, but now I forget. It couldn't have been that important. When you put them in, you always also just want to make sure that you're pushing them down. Excellent. These are going to go into the oven. Again, the oven is at 225, and they are going to go in the oven for 20 minutes to rise. So go fire these babies in the oven right now. Okay, here they go. All right, there they are, cinnamon buns made. I don't know how long that took, but I know that it didn't take very long. And they're in the oven rising for 20 minutes, so I'm gonna let them rise, and I will see you back here in about 20. 20 minutes is up, and the buns are now risen. I'm gonna take them out because I wanna show you the look that you're going for. Oh, okay, here they are. They are glorious and they're so puffy. When I touch them, they're going to be like just doughy. That is what you're going for. Even if you were to take these buns and if you took them out of the freezer, you're gonna put them in there, put them in the pan, in the oven. This is still the consistency that you're going for, that they're just soft and doughy. And do you see how, and this guy has totally fallen over? That's completely fine. What I don't want you to do though is to overthink this. This has been 20 minutes and 20 minutes is all you need for them to rise. And now you're gonna put them in the oven. Now, what I want to be clear on is the oven at this moment to when I was rising them, the oven was at 225. Now we're going to put the oven to 350. Maybe, yes. And these, I'm going to put them immediately back in the oven and put them in there for 20 minutes. The timer starts now. You do not have to put the oven to 350, like take them out, oven to 350, and then put them back in. They're going in now. As the oven is preheating, the time is starting now. So they're gonna go in and they're gonna cook for 20 minutes. Another 20 minutes, and your house is going to smell heavenly, and you are not going to be able to get your children away from your kitchen because they're going to be eating the cinnamon buns. I'll see you in 20 minutes when they're all cooked. All right, the timer has gone off and the buns are now ready to come out of the oven. I want you to see it, and I'm going to be really quiet when I open the oven door because I want you to hear it, just the bubbling of the cinnamon spread and the sugar and all of it. Oh yeah, there you go. Now our buns were actually in the oven for 25 minutes. This is what you're going for. It is going to be different for everyone's oven. It's going to be different. You are going for just that golden kind of look. You do not want that, and it's okay if it's a little white in here. You don't want to overcook them because they will be tough and they'll be a little tough and dry. It's not really what you're going for. And that is cinnamon buns. I'm going to take one out. Just a second here. Oh. I'm gonna see if I can do this without burning my hands. Oh yeah. I'm so glad I took that moment to butter that pan. And that is one of our world famous cinnamon buns right there. Look at that. Ooh, it's hot. Oh, but so good. And I am going to eat it. Have a bite of that. That's a good cinnamon bun. There you have it. Our world famous cinnamon buns brought to you in the cinnamon bun mix. So you can make them whenever, wherever, in under an hour. You can have these amazing cinnamon buns. If you do have any additional questions, make sure that you reach out. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. Have fun, enjoy, and impress every single person that you have in your life with your newfound baking skills.